Okay.
All right, welcome everybody. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good. Awesome. Well, I'm here to introduce our keynote, the famous Kevin Johnson.
Now I'm concerned that the basketball player / mayor is showing up. Good morning. How y'all doing? Awesome. I'm Kevin. I'm not that excited about being Kevin. I've been Kevin for 45 years. I've been Kevin Johnson for 18 less than that. And we're going to be talking today about all the bacon. Which, there's two reasons we titled the talk this. One, Kate Vita, who just introduced me, works with me, and she hates bacon. I know, did you hear the pain? That's what she keeps saying, it's more for us. My answer is, there's been plenty for us. So we purposely named it that. But the other reason is at one point, I watched this show, Parks and Recreation, and it was a really stupid show. You ever watch those shows that like, you watch it and you watch every episode, and then at the end of it, you think back and go, wow, I wasted a shit ton of my life. That was Parks and Recreation for me. But I enjoyed it. I laughed. It had some good things. And Ron Swanson was one of the characters. And there was an episode where he and Lesley went to breakfast, and the waiter came over, and he ordered food. I gotta stay away from that. He ordered food, and he said, I want all the bacon and eggs. And the waiter went, and he said, wait a minute. I think you might have misheard me. What I think you heard was I would like a lot of bacon and eggs. And what I said was I want all the bacon and eggs. And I laughed. I thought that's kind of cool, you know? And thinking about the security community, thinking about us, right? I realized that we want all the bacon and eggs, right? I mean, it's just the nature of our field, the nature of what we do. And so I thought the topic fit. So we're going to talk about it. I've got a couple slides, whatever, big deal. And a couple things about me before we really get started. Like I said, I'm Kevin. I'm a nerd. I've been a nerd my whole life. I am such a nerd that the guy who used to take my lunch money every day still does. But he makes a damn good Subway sandwich. So, I am the founder of Secure Ideas. We are a security consulting firm out of Jacksonville, Florida. We also have an office, I always say Charlotte, South Carolina. The people who are not geographic idiots like I am know that Charlotte's not in South Carolina, it's in North Carolina. But our office is in Fort Mill, which is basically Charlotte. And we also have staff in Tulsa and, I almost said Salt Lake City, and Michigan, which is very different than Salt Lake City. I think. I've not been in Michigan a lot, but every time I come here, it's cold. What the hell is that? It's May, people. I'm an IANS faculty member. As of yesterday, I'm an official OWASP chapter lead. I'm very excited. We've been trying to get them to let us restart the Jacksonville chapter. That's why it's not on the slide. I'm a course author and instructor and speaker. I like to tell people I'm an international speaker because I've been to Australia once. Been to Canada a few times, but does that really count as international, right? I mean, I gotta show my passport? Wow. I'm an open source project lead. Samurai WTF is my project. I was one of the founders of that. Matter of fact, it's a question I have, and I'd love feedback. This August is the 10th anniversary of the original release of Samurai WTF, right? Web testing framework, honest. On the first anniversary, I shipped samurai swords to the entire project team. By the way, recommendation, warn people you're shipping them a samurai sword if you're going to do that, because it causes issues. The 5th anniversary, we gave away a wearable samurai helmet. for the 10th anniversary, I'd like to do something cool. One for the team and one for the public. I don't want to give away wearable samurai armor. I looked into it. One, it's expensive. Two, sizing, right? How do you get fat, lazy guy samurai armor? I mean, they probably make it, but I don't know. So any feedback on that would be great. I am also weaponized flash, Yokoso, base, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. The thing I'm most proudest of that it doesn't involve my kids, because my kids are friggin' awesome. Of course, I'm biased, right? I am a member of the 501st Legion. For the people who don't know, the 501st Legion is a charity group. What we do, my wife says it's the nerdiest thing I've ever done. I pointed out she met me when I was 26, so she doesn't really know. We build screen-accurate Star Wars costumes, and then we wear them for charity. And we raise money and visit kids in hospitals and stuff like that. In 2016, we raised indirectly $11 million worldwide. That's me in the Vader and the clone. That Vader, this is my favorite picture. They brought 200 to 300 blind kids together, and they let them watch the Star Wars movies, which I thought was interesting that they called it watching the Star Wars movies, right? I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke. It was like, huh, that's kind of cool. And then we spent 3 hours letting the kids rub the costumes and find out what Darth Vader, right? I'm crying in that helmet right there. So it was awesome. A couple other things I wanted to point out. One, the only sales pitch. I got 2 things to sell you right now. One, if you are an active duty military, first responder, or vet, our training is free. Reach out. We'll give you a coupon code. You can get onto our recorded classes. And 2, if you work with, are involved with, or help out at a nonprofit charity, our services are free. Now, that's not free for 6 months or free for a year. That is free for as long as we offer the service. So if you're working with a nonprofit charity, there is one qualifier. They have to be an approved nonprofit charity. Let me explain that. Please note, I did not say government-approved nonprofit charity. Westboro Baptist Church, the dickheads who protest funerals, are a nonprofit charity. According to the federal government, we're not helping them out. So basically the rule is, don't be an asshole charity. Okay? I think it's a fair rule. Oh, a couple other things. One, I'm full of tangents. Just as a warning, I will try to make the tangents relevant, but I'm full of them. I'm full of lots of things. My eyes are brown. And 2, I have a sense of humor. Please note, I did not say a good sense of humor. My current favorite joke. Do you know why Walmart wasn't hacked? They're not a target. Right? I actually got to introduce like the CISO of Walmart, and I told that joke, and he would not shake my hand. Right? You know, like you introduce somebody on stage, you go like this, and the dude went, and I thought to myself, shit, you got the good side of the joke, right? So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about ethics, and we're going to talk about building on what we've got. Because I'll be honest, like I said earlier, I'm a nerd. I've been doing this for a long time. My first professional IT job was in 1991, which I believe was before Kate was born. Kate's going to regret asking me to do this. We're going to make sure that all day, all the joke references are about Kate. We freaked her out yesterday. We didn't mean to. Last year, when I came out here to ConVerge, I think Kate had been with the company 2 weeks. She forgot me at the airport. So for the last year, every single time somebody says airport in our Slack channel, it says, did Kate leave you there? So yesterday morning, I messaged Kate, hey Kate, don't worry about it. So we're on the same page. When I get to Detroit tonight, I'm just going to jump in a Lyft and go to the hotel. Turns out Kate missed that, Kate missed that message. When I booked this flight, I actually invited Kate to a meeting that the title was Forget Kevin at the Airport. For when I arrived last night, I got onto an earlier flight, and I got here like 2 hours early, and I wrote in Slack, okay, I made it to Detroit, headed to the hotel. Kate saw it. It's like, no, you're trolling me, right? Like, and of course, the other consultant screwed with her. So we were supposed to feel bad about that. And I said, supposed to. So, but what I've realized as I've done this, right, as I've been involved in IT, I got involved in security, a long damn time ago. I got involved because a company I worked for got hacked. I was the admin, I got pissed. And I'm like, that's never gonna happen again. Happened again 6 months later. But I was like, okay, we gotta fix this, right? So I started getting involved in security, started doing it. Now I'm a consultant, right? I don't know how the hell that happened, but it did, right? But what I've realized, and it's kind of funny to me, I do a lot of presenting, I do a lot of speaking, I do a lot of teaching, I go around to different conferences, and there are layers of people. And layers is probably the wrong word, because layers implies some of the people are higher or better than the other, and I don't think that's true. I think it's like a Venn diagram that has very few overlaps. And when we talk about the security community, right, there's actually not one. There's a lot. And we've got some that are very, very professional. They wear ties and suits, and they do their auditing and compliance and governance. And then you have the people who, how many people here are members of Anonymous? It's always worth asking, right? Me? No, I'm not. You always see those idiots on Facebook with the Anonymous logo as their profile picture next to their real name. Jackass. But, do you not know what that word means? Anonymous, I don't know. But you got the security researchers, right? Which is another word for person who can't get a legitimate job. It's not exactly true. There's lots of people who are security researchers that are awesome, but there's also people who are security researchers because they know how to run Nmap. You know I'm right. I had a guy send me an email. Kevin, securideas.com is vulnerable to Heartbleed. Shit. Oh, by the way, PG-13 for this talk. I should have said that earlier. Sorry, I'm cursing too much. I'm really tired. So he sent me an email, and my first reaction was, no, it's not. Then, of course, my second reaction is, well, that's the worst possible answer in your own head, right? Oh my gosh, that's really bad. So on one hand, I write back to the dude, and I'm like, hey, could you give me a little more detail, right? Like just saying securideas.com. That's actually not a small domain. Could you give me a little more detail? And at the same time, I'm writing to people internally, right? Like, shit, people, we got to fix this. Like, let's figure out what's going on. See, because I thought we were patched. But notice I said I thought we were patched. I didn't say I knew we were patched, right? And I don't mean that from a perspective of, well, I don't know what's on my systems, which may be true, but it's because my assumption was we missed something, right? So we go back and forth with the guy. The guy doesn't really know how to answer the question. Turns out, he finally sends me the command line argument he ran. He ran Nmap in debug mode with some scripts. The script that checks for Heartbleed actually returned back the result, not vulnerable. The debug section showed the handshake between the server and the client, right? As it's supposed to. That's what debug means. And so he ignored the script result and saw the debug code and thought, ooh, that's memory that's been dumped from that server because it's vulnerable to Heartbleed. So I then wrote back to him, told him to take his head out of his ass, and I taught him how to use Nmap. That's the other side, right? The people who think that they can just go, and you have this range in between, and let's be very clear, I am horribly simplifying these categories, right? But what I do know is that not a single one of us is where we are because of us. Kate made the joke. Here's the famous Kevin Johnson. And I, as much as I'll give Kate crap, she knows I hate when people refer to people in this field as famous. Because we're not, right? We may think we are. There may be plenty of us who think high enough of themselves to believe they're a celebrity. Kevin Mitnick. Ooh, did I say that out loud? Scumbag. But we are nothing without all of us. Everything that I do is built on work from other people, right? I just saw somebody tweeted out this weekend, and I don't remember who did it. And they tweeted out that, we have to stop saying, I know this, and start saying, I learned this. Because very little of what we know came from us, right? And we're mean. We are. I mean, just look at the results from the Twitter breach, if you want to call it that, right? Twitter wrote passwords to a log file in plain text. And I'll agree with you. That was stupid. But it was a mistake. And we jumped all over them. If you followed Twitter, if you followed Facebook, if you followed LinkedIn, if you followed Medium or whatever other place people can post content, we beat the shit out of them and complained and everything else. So this is the Venn diagram, right? Lesley, Knope, Ron Swanson, right? And if you've seen the show, you know. Lesley loves the government. She loves the fact that she gets to help the people by setting the rules and giving them the process and doing all of the right stuff, right? And then there's Ron, who, ironically, not the Alanis Morissette version of the word ironic, but the real word of ironic, hates government and leads the Parks and Recreation Department in the government. Hates the government. People should just be left alone, do what they want. And the key point for both of them is they're both happy, right? If you look at what they do, if you look at how they are, both of them are satisfied with their lives. They're happy with the things that they get to do. If you look at us, if you look at our groups, if you look at the way we talk to each other, if you look at the way we treat people, are we happy? I'm going to pick on Adrian for a second. I was out at Show Me Con, I don't know, last year, I guess? Damn, it's been a while. And there was a group of us that were talking and recording a podcast, and I came in late, and we were all talking about it. I think there was maybe 8 people in the room. All people that I admire and look up to. People that I think, holy shit, I get to be in a room with them. And we started talking about how we got to where we were, and we all started talking about how we learned what we could. And every single person in that room, except for one, gave amazing amounts of credit to that man right there. Because that man took his own time, took his own money, took his own effort, and collected data and recorded videos and released stuff for the rest of us to learn. And I watch every day where that man gets torn down. And I will tell you right now, not everything that comes out of his mouth do I agree with. Right? I got no problem admitting there are times I read and go, fuck! There's no other way to put it, man. Right? But I'm here. I can do what I do. I have protected organizations. I have helped people under threat. I have fixed issues because of what I learned from him. I am successful in part because of him. And this is not a gush fest over Iron Geek. Because I can list 10 other people that I feel the same way about. We can talk about the Matt Carpenters. We can talk about the Mike Poors. We can talk about the Kate Vitas that build us all up and help us all out. And we tear them apart. We tear each other apart. We're not happy. And I'll tell you right now, these two people, if you watch this stupid friggin' sitcom, are diametrically opposed. I don't think there's anything that Lesley Knope says in her life that Ron Swanson agrees with, and vice versa. Yet they're friends. Yet they work together. Yet they do things together. I don't have to agree with everything that comes out of that man's mouth to know that that man is a genius. I don't need to agree with everything. And I'll tell you right now, I know. I don't know this because I guess. I know it because I've done it. When I've disagreed with something from Adrian, and I've told him I disagree with it, we have a reasonable conversation. And there are times where I end that conversation still disagreeing with Adrian. And there are times where I end that conversation and I agree with him. He changes my mind. And the reason I point him out that way is because he's one of the few people that will talk to you. He will help you. We have this community, right? We talk about it. We like to say that we're friendly. We hug. Right? How many times do you see that, right? You go out to a conference and you hug people. Right? Dave Kennedy is a hugger. Right? I'll be honest. Don't fucking touch me. The reason I changed my name when I turned 18 was because my parents were abusive. My parents used to beat the shit out of me. My parents, I know how to replace screen doors because multiple times my father would throw me through a sliding glass door. I still wake up. I'm 45 years old. I still wake up in nights with nightmares, screaming because I'm scared shitless. And I tell you this not as a poor me, because I will tell you I'm fine. I'm good. And I had it better than many other people. The reason I tell you this, the reason I tell you that at 45 years old, I don't like people touching me. I don't like people coming near me. I don't like people. But this community makes me feel welcome. This community, I'm accepted. This community, I feel safe. And so when Dave Kennedy walks up and hugs me, it's okay. It's weird. Right? But that's what we do. We've tried to build a community. I do believe, though, very strongly, that while we have built community, we have not built a community. We have built groups. We have built cliques. We have built areas where we're comfortable, but other people aren't. I see too often when I come to conferences, the person that sits in the row by themselves and nobody talks to them. And they don't know what they're doing. How many people here have been to DEF CON? Right? 20,000 of your closest hacker friends all wearing black in the summer in Vegas, not showering enough. Right? People say to me all the time, should I go to DEF CON? My answer is, have you ever been to a conference? No. Then no. You shouldn't go to DEF CON. DEF CON shouldn't be your first conference because it's overwhelming. I love DEF CON. I think it's awesome. I think everybody should go at some point in their life. The only problem I have with the DEF CON is it's in Vegas, which I hate, in the summer. Who did that? Let's pick the hottest place in the United States and fly everybody there. But it's too easy to see the people that aren't engaged, the people who aren't involved. Whereas if you go to a DerbyCon, if you go to a ConVerge, if you go to a B-Sides, it's easier to see the community we all love, right? I came in this morning, I'll be honest, I'm in Detroit very rarely. I look out at this audience and there's very few faces I recognize. I sat down this morning, I was starved because I had probably the worst Chinese food delivered to my hotel room last night that I've ever had. Oh my God, it was bad. So I didn't eat it. Sat down with my muffin, my cup of coffee, and the very first thing that happened, a guy named Jordan said, hey, started talking to me, right? And then 2 other people sat down, who I warned not to come to the talk, but they still did. And they started talking. And we engage with people. We talk and we help. And that's critical for us to keep doing. And we have to remember to do it everywhere. Because I'll tell you right now, sitting in that room over there with the lockpicks and having people talk to me is easy. Sitting on Twitter and remembering that there is a human being on the other side of that tweet. A human being you might want to set on fire. We see things constantly when we talk. How many people here are on Slack? Right? Pretty much. We talk to people constantly. I'm in the professional evils. I don't even know. I call them Slack channels. The problem with that is there's all the other channels in the channel. So I guess it's Slack teams. Am I getting that right? Okay. Kate's nodding. She's smiling. So that means I used the right words. Yes. I fought Slack. I'm like, we don't need to do Slack. We have IRC. I also hated the web. I was like, why do we need that? We have Gopher. But I'm old. So are you, obviously. We build this up and we start helping each other. Right? Here are the problems I see. The categories. 1, I feel like we don't have a lot of standards. And I want to be very clear. Please note that I did not say government standards, right? Thank God Georgia vetoed that bill, right? But we don't have a lot of standards. The fact that it is 2018 and on a regular basis I get asked to get up on stage and be on a panel describing the difference between a pen test and a vulnerability assessment. What is wrong with you people? Those are really easy. We've known the difference between a vuln assessment and a pen test for 300 years. I might be exaggerating slightly. Right? It's pretty simple. Did you attempt to exploit the vulnerability? Yes, pen test. No, vulnerability assessment. Done. Stop talking about it. But we still do. Why? Because too many jackasses sell vuln assessments as pen test, Rapid 7. But, ooh, did I say that out loud? We don't have standards. Let me ask you a question. Is it okay to go to a website and put a single quote in a form field and see if you get an error message back? How many people believe the answer is yes? You're wrong. Sorry. Yeah. See, I told you, I don't agree with everything out of his mouth. That wasn't even out of his mouth, it was out of his hand. But we don't have the standards picked to what we think something should be. We don't have the standards picked to what something should be allowed. Ethics is another one, which is tied directly to standards. And I'm going to tell you, as you looked at my bio, you know, I'm a Bible thumper. Proud of it. Right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to have you all to come to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But I am going to tell you that I base my ethics on my religion. But I don't believe that you have to follow the same religion as I do to know that stealing is bad. Amen. Thank you. You don't have to follow the same religion as I do to know don't be a dickhead. Hallelujah. Sadly, too many people in my religion don't know that. I believe that we all need to have some type of ethical boundaries, some type of ethical guidelines. I just taught a class for 2 days in, I keep saying DC because the name of the conference was Secure Summit DC, but it was in Maryland. That confused me. I'm lost already, right? But I did a 2-day conference, right? And I was teaching a class, and we say to the place that's doing the conference, we said, okay, they're like, do you have the books? And I'm like, we don't have books. We have USB sticks. We'll hand out with VMs and a PDF on. Oh, our students won't use USB sticks. Why not? Well, it could have malware that you're attacking them. Do I have permission to attack them? No. Well, then it won't have malware that I put on there. They were shipped from China. I have no idea what was on the USB sticks before I got them. We have to follow a set of standards. The fact that if you leave your machine unlocked at your office, some asshole is going to come by and announce your undying love for Rick Astley. Stop doing that. You're not teaching anybody by inviting everybody to watch a video from this dude's computer because he left it unlocked. All you're doing is pissing that dude off. And I see that way too often with most of what we do. Some company, I don't remember the name of the company, they were assholes as being a CA, and they invalidated a whole bunch of certificates, and their security sucked. And what did we do as a community? We piled on. Look at all the stupid stuff here. Oh, I found this. Oh, I found this. Oh, I found this. Why? Did that make you better? Did it help any company? Twitter, same thing. Twitter screwed up. They started logging passwords in plain text. Right? We all know this. We all got the notification. You probably want to change your password. You're right, I probably do. Twitter blew up, which I think is absolutely hilarious, that we bitched about Twitter on Twitter. It's like right after the Cambridge Analytica stuff where people were on Facebook going, oh, Facebook doesn't care about my privacy. Stop posting that here. But we jumped on Twitter. Do you know what we accomplished? And I'm including myself, even though I'm not one of the people who tweeted bad stuff about Twitter. But I'm including myself because I'm part of the group. I'm part of the community. We painted ourselves with this brush. What we accomplished was the next company that does something stupid isn't going to tell people. Because according to all the breach notification laws I read, Twitter wasn't required to tell us. But they did. Damn it. Recognize when people do something good, even when they screw up. Because the next time it happens, it's gonna be you. And I will admit, we're not supposed to judge, but I judge. And I said earlier, and you judge silently. No, fuck no, I'm not silent. I judge out loud. Don't buy check marks. But it's gonna happen to you. Karma's a bitch. And then the last thing I see, which I've talked about already, is the clicks. We have an us versus them mentality, not methodology. Might be a methodology also, but that's weird. We have an us versus them. The problem I see, beyond just having an us versus them, is that our us changes constantly. Our them changes constantly. Twitter was awesome until it wasn't. Security was awesome until it wasn't. Weave was awesome. No, he wasn't. Ever. Until he wasn't. We'll have one person do something stupid and we'll blast them. We'll have somebody else do the exact same stupid shit and we raise them up on a pedestal. We idolize people who do wrong until they do wrong again. Until they do it in a way that we get mad. We allow people to stand up on stage and talk about how they're hacking people's phones right then. And then when they tweet out that they hacked the entertainment center of a plane and they get arrested for it, or at least questioned, we destroy them. And I don't know where you stand on that one. I know my opinion of Chris Roberts. But he wasn't a surprise to anybody who followed him, who watched him talk, who watched him present. Somebody we put up on stage time and time again as a keynote person. Well, I don't know how the hell I got up here, but let's go with it. We put him up on stage as a keynote. We applauded when he would stand up and say, look at the cool thing I did to the hotel Wi-Fi right now, blah, 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 blah. We encouraged it. And then when it got too serious, we stepped away and said we had nothing to do with that. Be consistent. That's what I ask. Be consistent. Personally, I don't like what he did. But I don't like what he did any of the times he did it. I've told him that, and I've spoken publicly about it before. And I'm not standing up here going, I'm better than him, because I am not. I'm as hypocritical as everybody I'm lambasting. I won't lie to you and tell you I've never broken the law. I won't lie to you and tell you I never will again. I have 2 daughters, one who just turned 16. I am probably going to end up breaking the law. I already have it planned. When my daughters start dating, here's my plan, right? I don't believe teenagers are afraid of the dad with the gun. You know that story, right? I'm going to be cleaning my gun when the boy picks up my daughter, or whatever crap like that. And I live in Florida. We have guns. It's Florida. It's like a law. If you're in Florida, you have to own a gun. I don't think they're afraid of that. Because teenagers don't think they can die. Right? Hence Tide Pods. But, so here's my plan. Let's say, I don't know, because I don't know who's going to date my daughters. Let's just go with an example. Some kid comes by. They're there to pick up my daughter. Here's what I'm going to do. Before they get there, I'm going to break into their phone. I'm going to steal a whole bunch of their pictures. I'm going to print them, frame them, and hang them in the foyer of my house. Right? That way when they come in the front door, because they're picking my daughter up, they're coming in the front door. Right? I'll be like, hey, did you see your vacation pictures? Good plan, right? I mean, now it's recorded. That'll ruin it. Premeditated or some shit. But, right? We have these clicks. We have to be consistent. Here's the way I think we should solve this. I'm actually right on time. I'm so weird. This is crazy. I'm never on time. The very first thing is standards. And it may be ethics. Maybe you reverse those. But I believe that before we can talk about ethics, we have to talk about standards. And we have some good baselines, right? PTES. OWASP. I know, I'm going to say the words you all hate. PCI. You know, the internet standard, you must be this tall to ride the internet. That's what PCI is, right? But how about we build some standards for what we do? How about we build some standards, what the hell? I just had a customer call me up, right? And they said, hey, Kevin. I'm like, hey, we need you to do a new test for us. I'm like, okay. We'd like you to do a black team test. I will admit, my first thought was, wow, that's racist. I said, do you mean a black box pen test? And they said, no, that's so 2015. We need you to do a black team test. I'm like, okay, I'll bite. What's a black team test? And they're like, it's like a purple team, but it's more subtle. I'm like, okay, I'll bite. What's a purple team test? Because I've learned, let's be clear, I know what people refer to as a purple team test. I know what I mean by a purple team test, but what I have learned is not everybody means the same thing I do. So I said, what's a purple team test? And they said, well, you're gonna do a vulnerability scan of our network and then a pen test using Nessus. But you're gonna slow the scanner down so people won't notice. I said, so you want me to do a vulnerability assessment? They're like, no. Because you'll slow the scanner down so people won't notice. And what's that called again? A black team test. I don't even know what that means. I still don't know what it means, and they explained it. I had another consultant firm. So I do weird work. One of the things that we do quite often is companies will hire us to do a pen test of another pen tester's test. Meaning, we'll go test again, but before we do the test, they'll give us last year's report. And they want us to evaluate how well they've done better this year, like did they fix all the stuff they found last year, and evaluate whether they reacted well to the stuff, right? And what blows my mind is how many times I see some other company's pen test report, and we joke about this, but it's basically a Nessus report. And we call that a red team exercise. It's red because that's what you see when you realize you got repped off. So we need to build some standards. We need to build standards of what testing is. We need to build standards of what controls are. I'm an IONS faculty member, I said that, right? And last year, IONS would do these gold sessions. And a gold session was code for, we're gonna do a session where the faculty is presenting, but 5 minutes of the session, a vendor is gonna be able to pimp their product. Okay? Well, okay, that's fine. So I had a vendor come in, we were doing a talk on honeypots, and the vendor said to me, Kevin, I need you to change your slides. Okay, the answer is no, but I'd love to hear why you want me to change my slides. Well, you use a word that we're not comfortable with. And I'm thinking, I didn't curse. Like, you keep saying honeypots. And honeypots is not a good word. Well, okay. What would be a better word? And they're like, deception artifacts. No. And I went and looked. Sure enough, they had a trademark on the phrase deception artifacts. Right? Huh, I wonder why they wanted me to use that. I saw a t-shirt once. I don't even remember the company. And on the back of it, it said, negative day protection. Right? Negative day. Now let's deconstruct this a little bit. What's a 0 day? Oh, I'm sorry, an O day. What's a 0 day? It's a vulnerability exists and there isn't a patch for it. Right? So in my head, what happens before a vulnerability exists? The vulnerability doesn't exist. I can protect you against vulnerabilities that don't exist. 100% guaranteed. It requires 0 installation on your machines. It will take 0 resources. Write me a check. 100% guarantee you will not be exploited by any payloads directed toward vulnerabilities that don't exist. Done. I bet you if I say blockchain, I'll get venture capital money. What the hell is negative day? We don't even use the right terms anymore. Right? Standards. And once we build some standards, notice the middle one there that I haven't mentioned yet. Because that's one of the biggest questions I get from people. Right? Kevin, how do I become you? Oh, dude, you do not want to become this. This was caused by lots of concussions. How do I do your job? Shit, I don't even know how to do my job. How do I become a consultant? Huh? We need to start showing people how to become what we become. Let's stop encouraging people to go to high school, then college, and be a pen tester. Because we don't need more pen testers. Because I don't want the competition. No. We don't need more pen testers. We need more people who understand technology and can test it. We need more people who understand controls. We need more people who understand what the hell is going on our networks. They can be pen testers, don't get me wrong. We're interviewing right now because we're hiring. And two of my people interviewed a guy yesterday, and they asked him, you're a developer. What would you look for if I told you that I found SQL injection in your code? What would you look for? And Nathan and Mike described the answer as they felt he Google searched technical terms and read them off to him because he didn't understand it. Yet here is somebody who believes they're ready to be a pen tester and they don't know what SQL injection means. A vulnerability that we've known for more than 20 years. A vulnerability that not only have we known about it for more than 20 years, we've known the solution to it for more than 20 years. Right? That's a problem. Then we need to start building up ethics. We need to start building up guidance as to what's okay and what's not. And while I will tell you that I believe my ethics are the right one to build from, I really don't know. We need to build out what we think is okay. This is something I've been talking about for years. We need a standard, an ethical guideline that we all can look at and go, you know what? I don't necessarily agree with everything in those ethics, but I can live by them. I can work by them, and I can do my job by them. Because if we don't do it, the government will. Georgia proved that. The government's already talking about, oh, we have to regulate. We have to do this. We're screwed. If the politicians of today make the rules of what we're allowed to do, because every crypto will have a backdoor. But don't worry, law enforcement are the only trustworthy people who will be able to use that crypto backdoor. Honest. We need the ethics. We need to come together and decide what we'll be okay with and what we won't. And we need to hold ourselves to that standard. We need to be hypercritical of us. Start with yourself. Think back to all the things that you do. Think back to the things you've said, the things, and I'll be honest, I look back at some of the things I've tweeted out, fudge. I'm an asshole. I know I am. It's in court records. But we need to start holding ourselves accountable. And we need to handle it. And we need to stop encouraging the behavior that we do. It bothers me that there are security conferences I can't bring my daughters to. My oldest daughter, she's 16, her name's Brenna, she's awesome. Brenna wants to go to security conferences. She wants to see what's going on. She's not interested in being a pen tester. She's interested in being a children's book illustrator. But she's interested in going to these cons. She's interested in seeing the talks and meeting the people and experiencing what it's like. And there are conferences I won't bring my daughter to because when I go to them, I'm stepping over passed out drunk people in the hall. And it's not that my daughters don't know that people drink. It's not that I don't believe my daughter can't handle seeing somebody drunk. It's that I'm worried I'm going to have to kill a motherfucker for hurting her. And that's a problem. That's an issue. And I'd like to believe I have the answer, but my answer is a Glock, and I'm not sure that scales. We need to make it better. And I don't care if people drink. This is not me saying stop being druggies, stop being alcoholics. You want to drink, drink. You want to be an idiot. Let's have fun. Let's do the stupid stuff we all enjoy. But let's think about what it means when we do it. And let's start embracing, I use that word on purpose, let's start embracing the people who are not part of us. Let's start engaging the people who are not part of us. The fact that I was just at a conference speaking with 2,000 attendees, most of whom have never heard of a B-Sides or a ConVerge or a DerbyCon. And they're as much security people as you and I. But that's not where they're at, right? Let's embrace the suit wearers. Let's embrace the blue-haired people. Let's embrace the people who just have to build the systems we are screwing up. Let's stop referring to developers as idiots. Let's stop talking about the stupid users, right? That's the one that gets me. You know, we all say it, right? Stupid users. Our networks would be so much safer if we didn't have users. I've said it. You want to really screw with your head for a second? You want to really screw with your head? We all hate users. They're the worst. They're the reason breaches happen. Do you understand that something like 45% of breaches are detected by the users? All your fancy carbon black bullshit, your silence marketing crap, your whatever, and the users are discovering the breaches. The users are the ones telling us we got hacked. The users are the ones telling us that we have a problem. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. We have to get better. That's what it boils down to. We have to get better. Because I mean it when I say, I want all the bacon. And I know Kate's giving me her share. I want us to be the beacon of light. And I know this is gushy and whatever you want to call it. But I am so fucking impressed by the intelligence in this room. And I know you're smart because you came to see me speak. The stuff that's going to be talked about for the rest of today and tomorrow, the stuff that was talked about yesterday. There are things that will be found out here in a corner between three people talking over a problem one of them has, and they're going to come up with a solution. It'll probably be AI blockchain, but... and that solution won't be known by the people who need it because we haven't fixed ourselves. I know. Keynotes are supposed to be happy-go-lucky and fun. Go out and be better. That's all I can say. Go out and be better, and I promise you, I will be too. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.